What if there was a Batman story that broke every rule you know, even what you thought you knew about his mythology? Well, the Absolute Universe is here, and I finally read Absolute Batman issue 1. For those unfamiliar with the Absolute Universe, I will be doing a video about it once I've read all the Trinity comics, but for now, just know it's a new universe created by DC that runs parallel to their normal continuity, revising all the characters. Kind of like Marvel's Ultimate Universe? Yeah. And boy, have they reimagined these characters. Of course, this video will contain spoilers, so if you haven't read it yet, do yourself a favor and dive in. I truly recommend it, don't miss out the opportunity. This is the Absolute Batman issue 1, The Zoo, part 1. But first, writes Scott Snyder. Born in New York in 1976, we can have read him in his often horror-inspired works like American Vampire or Batman Court of Owls. On the art side, Nick Dragotta, celebrated for his work on East of West with Jonathan Hickman. His style, marked by dramatic layouts and sharp details, transforms Batman into a rugged, almost DIY-inspired figure. We start with someone returning to Gotham after a while. He is on a motorbike around the city while he talks to it. What we don't expect is for him to be Alfred Pennyworth instead of Bruce. And that is my point on this. The comic, once and again, shows us how deeply we are tied to some patterns and things we normally see in Batman histories. And then it breaks them, making a lot more notable how this is not the normal DC continuity. This is a new thing, and so it has its own new stories. One of the first things that happen to Alfred when he gets to Gotham is that his motorbike has been stolen. We see an Alfred who is still working for some type of mercenaries or a spies organization, and this is typically Alfred lore, but we don't normally see an Alfred that keeps doing this at the time. Then, he is targeted with the mission to check on the new crime organization that is causing several deaths in the city, but not to interfere. And it's at this point when we also see the first reference to a new vigilante in Gotham. And the art of Dragotta here is just amazing. We see the first impression of Batman, but it's not Batman. It's not even the person. It's something, a shape. Remembers to a bat. It's big, goes through the skies, and it's there, looking. It's the perfect representation of what Gotham citizens and criminals have seen for the last nights. The comic keeps playing with this thing of knowing what we expect and breaking it down. When we move to a gym where Bruce makes his first appearance as an absolute mole, boxing and breaking a training bag. And here we see a Bruce Wayne telling that he needs to wait until he gets paid to buy a new bag. So this is very important to notice because we are seeing a Bruce Wayne that it's broke. I mean, the importance of this, a Bruce Wayne that it's not a millionaire man, we are talking about a broke one who needs to get paid in order to buy a bag. This is mind-blowing, at least for me. So next of this, we also see that this Bruce Wayne is already friend with some of what we are used to know as his enemies. Some characters that are presented as his friends, mention it, are Oswald Cobblepot, known as the Penguin, Edward Nygma, the Riddler, Harvey Dent, Two-Faces, and Selina Kyle, Catwoman. But any of them are represented as their villains. They are just some friends that he has from his school years. So this is also an important thing to see him being friend with his villains in the continuity. And this could really be very interesting in the future whenever these characters start to appear. Maybe some of them will be the same villains, or some of them may be gooder. In any case, it will be very interesting to see these interactions and to see how this universe opens up, flipping the familiar Batman story upside down. Through the story, we are also watching a flashback of a young version of Bruce going to the zoo with his school class, and this narrative is very interesting in how they plant some ideas that again reach to resonate with us. Bruce's father, the teacher in the school, says that in the night they are going to the movies. At this moment, we already know what comes next. All of us know what happened the night that the Wayne family go to the movies. Except because we don't. This is a new version, and it reminds you again. At that moment, some shoots alerts the father, the teacher in the zoo, that something is happening. At this point, the story moved to a yacht where we see the leader of this new mafia talking with the two more established mafia leaders in the Gotham mythology, Maroni and Falcone. Despite the first approach that we have to this weird family, what is interesting is how fast they end with Maroni and Falcone. This has been the weirdest thing to me. At this moment, I am both watching the Penguin show and rewatching Gotham the show, so there is a big presence of these two mafia families in these Batman products. So to end with these two characters has created in me weird sensations. For one side, I feel sad because I love the mafia stories in the Batman lore. But on the other hand, I feel like this could lead to exactly the point of this new universe. Tell different stories and have a space for the artists to open up and explore their new ideas. And here we go again, for a perfect work from Dragotta with his images showing Bruce Wayne convert into the Batman. Really, just enjoy his art because this is amazing. Keeping on, Gordon is now serving as Gotham's mayor on a conference to approach the issue with this new mafia. In this moment is when the mafia tries to do a terrorist attack on the hall. See Gordon as the mayor isn't that weird, but gives some interesting thoughts on this new Gotham. Will the city not be that much corrupted? Or will Gordon give up and be corrupted himself? After a confrontation between Batman and some of the bad guys of the mafia, that I can just describe as epic, since we see again a masterpiece art like the bat position upside down, and a Batman that is more beast than ever, a very physical fighter causing lots of blood. Using also his very polemic logo, which I have to say I love, as an axe to cut a hand. While this happened, we see Alfred on the top of the roof observing on this and talking with his organization. This one seems to be very interested in the new mafia, but don't want to intervene for now, so wants Alfred to stop Batman. Alfred has noticed that even if Batman is causing a lot of pain and blood, he knows how to do it anytime so he doesn't kill. Finally, Alfred tries to threaten Batman, but this last one manages to disarm him and go away with his arm. But what we didn't expect either is for Alfred to find out who Batman is that easy. For us that's very helpful. At the same time Alfred figures that out, helps us understand who this Bruce Wayne is. That he works in a construction and was a very smart boy already since school, always interested in bat. We see Bruce pay respect to the zoo, at the same time we figure out that there was where his father died, protecting the class from a shooter. Finally, Alfred explained that everybody has a weakness, and he knows Bruce one, her mother. And I know, it makes sense if the father died at the zoo and not in the movies for the mother to be alive, but for some reason for me was like a big plot twist and I wasn't expecting that. And that makes sense when you think that I have already listened Batman's origin story that many times that my brain has an image of the comic I'm reading even before I read it, and as I'm going it breaks and regenerate this image. And that is what this comic does so well. It's a comic that knows that and play with that. Most of the plot twists are not that big if it wasn't for the fact that we have a pre-established image. And that's what this comic plays with. And it does it so well because you are thinking one way and the comic goes the other way around. And it's that night that Alfred figures out where Bruce has its base. what we normally know as the Batcave, a cave full of bats where there is only dark. But again, we break that and we see a base on the top of one of the taller buildings in Gotham, one under construction, so Bruce has access because of his job. Alfred goes there with a gun again, but Bruce notices it. And so at the moment Alfred gets there, Bruce is already waiting for him, full suited as Batman. So he is aiming a gun to Alfred's head, and he tells Batman he is not a killer. And boom! Batman shoots. Again, mind-blowing for me. So I'm relieved when we note that the gun has been modified by Bruce not to be fatal. And that moment, Bruce takes a bike, the bike that was stolen from Alfred at the beginning of the comic, and jumps with it to the void. End of the comic with an amazing split page. Notice the fact that Bruce stole the bike show us he was controlling Alfred at first when he arrived at the city, even before Alfred knows anything about Batman. Finally, there is an epilogue where we see that the mission Alfred had before going to Gotham was to follow up some guy trained by the League of Assassins, a person that people call him Joker. With this ends the first introduction to the Absolute Batman and to the Absolute Universe as well. And come on, I loved it. I'm willing to continue with this story. And so, Absolute Batman expertly dismantles familiar Batman tropes, consistently surprising us with fresh takes on the characters and their relationships, with Snyder's dramatic plot twists redefining dynamics and Dragotta's amazing artwork. This reimagined universe breathed new life into Batman's legacy. I can't wait to see where this journey goes next. If you haven't checked it out yet, now's the time to dive in. Goodbye for now, and I will be back soon with a review on Absolute Wonder Woman. Stay tuned.